All right, guys, time to run it back. We have another 5-game slate to talk about here for the NBA Summer League. But before we get into the breakdown, let's go over my lineup here from tonight. So, once again, another great night. It's been a phenomenal start. Cashed in back-to-back nights here in all GBPs. And then I've hit everything in Prize Picks as well. If you watch my Prize Picks video, we hit the two-pick play as well. So, yeah, it's been a very profitable summer league and hoping to keep that going. But let's go over my lineup really quick. And the answer is yes. I am still on tilt mode watching Kuminga. I mean, that had to be Kuminga's worst game ever. I think that's the worst game I've ever seen him play. I think he shot like 1 of 10. He turned the ball over like 8 times. Just couldn't do anything. It was super frustrating, but it's also a thing where, like, I don't regret the play at all. Like, Kuminga stood out. It was him and Cam Thomas were the two guys at the very top that stood out. It was like great spin-ups. Cam Thomas started pretty slow and then went for like 20 real-life points in the fourth quarter. Tilted me, too, because I faded him at high ownership. And I was like, oh, looking like I'm going to get away with it. Just shoots like 20 times in the fourth quarter and goes like 20. Like, ugh. So, yeah, the Kuminga game, again, I'll play him again in the spot. So, like, just probably his worst game ever as an NBA player. But going over the rest of my lineup. So, I went with Connor Gillespie, who was very, very low owned at 9%. He had a really good game. Only 4.5K, rookie guard there from Villanova. Quentin Grimes had a massive game. He was also huge chalk, like 90+% in the higher stake stuff. Made sense, right? The Knicks, once again, ran a pretty tight rotation. Isaiah Jackson only played like, I feel like it was like 16 minutes, but he smashed. Like, he was absolutely crushing. Just that game blew out. He didn't have to play a ton. Mamukelashvili and Day'Ron Sharpe are both good for the price points as well. Mamukelashvili also started very slow. I think he started like 0 of 6 up at salvage his day, and then Sharpe was solid as well. Missed the double-double there by a couple points. Ish Wainwright, another guy that started slow, had a nice solid second half. Game did blow out, got pulled there at the end. I went to him at lower ownership over Cam Thomas. Again, he was also a little bit cheaper, but Cam Thomas definitely outperformed him. Kuminga, like I said, was massive chalk, but just like, ugh. And then Jericho Sims. So Sims was pretty key. I was hammering that home on Patreon of the Knicks, right? The 3 main Knicks guys, and Grimes, McBride, Sims. Really like them because we didn't know for sure, but we had a good, indication that they were going to play pretty big minutes because of last year. So, overall, it was a great night. I think, an average game from Kuminga there, and I'm probably right at the top. First place was 271, I was at 252. Also missed another couple $100 by like 1 point, but no complaints here, guys. Hoping to keep it going. And yeah, it wasn't just me. A lot of big nights here overall. So just shouting out a few of you guys in the Discord. Let's see, $47 into $1,500. I would say that's a pretty decent ROI. We had take down the late slate and I think the showdown slate as well. Congrats, man. Another very, very sharp player in our Discord. John, huge night. What is that? Like over $3,000. Again, can't beat it. Coach Mike, love having you in the Discord as well. I think I was like a 10x day. My eyes aren't what they used to be. But, like I said, really, really solid day overall outside of Kuminga. If Kuminga just had a decent game, I feel like everyone would have been right at the top. But the Kuminga, bust game was definitely a little bit tilting. But all right, so let's talk about this 5-game slate. Again, guys, if you do enjoy, just make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that good stuff. Again, if you're interested in the Patreon, you can check it out, link down below. I am basically on my phone all day long, just posting any updates I can, answering questions in the Discord. So if you're interested, check it out down below. Also, make sure to watch the Prize Picks video of that up as well. But all right, Detroit, Washington, first game here. So On the Detroit side, Cade Cunningham, Sadiq Bey, not going to be playing this one. Not sure about Isaiah Stewart. He played in the first game. He had a really solid game. Not sure if he's going to play in this game. Now, Ivy played very, very well in his first game. He also played a little bit more, though. Killian Hayes got poked in his eye and sat for the last 4 or 5 minutes. So Ivy, I think, played a couple extra minutes there. But no issue if you want to spend up for him. He has that shooting guard eligibility. Jalen Duren was, played very good, but, barely played. So maybe if we get confirmation that Stewart's out and Duren is starting at the 5, I guess it started Stewart at the 4, Duren at the 5. But there's no Stewart. Maybe I feel a little more confident in Duren's minutes. Right now, more of that contrarian play. If I knew, for example, he was going to play 25 minutes, I'd be really like him. Killian Hayes, 9-2. Again, got poked in the eye. He had an okay game, but I think he's viable. Again, Stewart, if he plays, no issue going there. Braxton Key also played 30 minutes off the bench. They have him listed as a point guard, shooting guard. He's a 4, so that's definitely not the correct position for him. I think he's a fair play. Saban Lee was someone that won me a lot of money opening night. A guy that just going to be productive when he's in the court, right? I think he finished second in the G League MVP voting. Just super productive, when given minutes. He played 25 minutes last game. So Saban Lee, I think, makes a pretty good value play off the bench. Livers, I'm fine with. He's going to play big minutes. He played cracked 30-plus minutes. Not a super productive guy, more of a guy that's going to stand in the corner. But if he knocks down a few threes, at a cheap price point, he doesn't really need a ton to pay off the salary. But one thing I will mention, too, is also the Pistons ran a pretty tight rotation last game. All right, on the Wizards side, we have rookie Johnny Davis at the top 9K. Playable. I still think, though, Draftkings has priced up a lot of the rookies, and the second-year guys are a little bit cheaper. So I'm not saying you can't play Johnny Davis, but definitely a little bit pricey. Other options on Washington, there's not a ton that I love. I think Vernon Carey, assuming he starts, will probably be the other guy I would look to. Only 4.8K, decent point per minute guy, but not a ton that stands out for me on Washington. Atlanta and Utah, so you have AJ Griffin here at the top, 8.6. Again, fine. Like I said, the rookies were priced up. Tyrese Martin, 7.2, okay as well, but there's a couple of guys that intrigue me here kind of in the mid-range. Sharif Cooper, second-year player, a guy that will do a lot of the ball handling. Pretty sure he's going to be starting at the point guard position. And like I said, he doesn't have to score to get there. If you look at last summer league, 6, 9, 12 assists. So definitely intrigued by Sharif Cooper there, 6'5". I think Chris Clemons is also another name I'll mention. So he's a guy that will chuck the ball. I think it was last preseason for the Rockets. He had a nasty injury. But he's a guy that can put a lot of fantasy points up in a short amount of time. I just don't know if he'll start alongside Sharif Cooper. I'm pretty sure they're going to start Sharif Cooper. So makes Clemens obviously a little bit riskier there. Let's go to Utah. So Utah have kind of mixed and matched lineups they played the pre-summer league games. Rotation-wise is a little bit tricky. You have Cochran at the top, 7.5. Not a ton of interest in him, even though he's, been a solid point per minute guy. I think there's probably other options to look to. Taco Fall, there's no reason to go there. He's, played very limited minutes so far. But there are a couple guys that are viable here. I think Jared Butler, 5.5K. He had a really big game. I think the last game. A guy that was out on the end of the bench for Utah in the regular season, and he's definitely going to be one of their go-to guys. So intrigued by him. Bruno Caboclo. I'm sure some of you guys will recognize this name. He's bounced around the NBA now for a few years. He got a DNP game 1. He didn't. I think he had a really good game 2, and then maybe didn't play a ton game 3. But if he starts, I like him a lot. It's just a matter of, what is this Jazz rotation going to be, right? Because they've tried a few different rotations here in those pre-summer league games. And then also Palmer. James Palmer has had a couple really big games as well. So definitely, I think it's just monitoring the starting lineup for Utah. And if a lot of these, cheaper guys end up starting, I'm going to have some interest there. All right, Oklahoma City and Houston. So on the Thunder side, Holmgren, Giddey at the top. I think both look like pretty good plays. Expect mid to high 20s minutes or both. Both can stuff the stat sheet. Giddey's a guy that, I think he had a triple-double one game already. Holmgren had that really, really big game. I was just reading the news. They have Melissa's out. Don't put too much emphasis in what Draftkings has. He rested one game, but Holmgren had that huge game, his first game where he had like 4 blocks and a steal, but definitely intrigued by Gideon Holmgren just because both should be very, very productive. This is probably one of the better Summer League rosters. Trey Mann's on this team. He played the last game. He had a solid game. Aaron Wiggins, Pokashevsky. You have the Williams. You have Amorie, who was pretty solid for Dallas Summer League last year. So this team is pretty stacked, but mainly looking to the top-end guys. And I think Trey Mann would be the other guy I'll mention. Pokashevsky's fine, but he's definitely going to take a backseat, assuming all the main guys end up playing. On the Houston side, so Jabari Smith cracked 30 minutes, had a disappointing first half, was a little bit more aggressive in the second half. I think he's definitely in play. Eason, another guy that had a solid game. Both the rookies viable. I think I actually would lean Smith, though, over Eason. Christopher, the price didn't really move. So I think, once again, he has a good play in the mid-range. Expect him to chuck the ball when he's out there. You had Deshaun Nix run the point. I think he's fine. Garuba has been confirmed out for the rest of the Summer League. So Arik Holman should get some backup 5 run, 4.6K. It's doable, but don't expect a ton of playing time for him. All right, Clippers and Grizzlies. So I think there's definitely some underpriced guys here for the Clippers. Diabate, rookie from Michigan. I'm very familiar with him because really the only college basketball games I watched were Michigan games. So Diabate is a guy that athletic, big, good shot blocker, can stretch the floor. 7.4K. I have no issue if you want to go there. But, guys like Boston, only 6'8". Preston, Xavier Moon, Jay Scrubb's only 5'4". Yeah, what a name, right? But he's a guy that had a solid Summer League last year. So a lot of guys that I'm intrigued by here for the Clippers. Again, Boston, Moon, Preston, Scrubb, all in play. Reggie Perry, if he picks up a start, I have no issue going to him. Another good point per minute guy. Brantley played for the Jazz Summer League last year. He was solid. So I think a lot of guys too cheap here for the Clippers. On the Grizzlies side, so looking at the top end options, I think Zaire Williams is a guy that looks pretty good. He'll do a lot of the ball handling for the Grizzlies. He had 8 assists, I think, in the game 1 in those pre-Summer League games. So, a guy that'll be a big piece of Memphis going forward in the regular season. But for Summer League, I think he looks pretty good. And then you got some of the bigs like Santi Aldama, Xavier Tillman, 7'3" and 6'4", respectively. Both look pretty good there in the mid-range. Don't really know if I'm looking to Laravia. Again, probably mispronouncing some names here, but I think I'd rather go to those other options we talked about. Kenny Lofton had the good game against Chet Holmgren, but in the games where like a lot of the main guys play, he didn't play a ton. However, could he still get it done in like 15 minutes on the bench? Yeah, sure. So mention him just because another guy that good rebounder, good scorer around the rim. So let's finish up here, New Orleans and Portland. So on the New Orleans side, you have the 3 rookies here at the top. Again, I'm not going to say no to any of these guys, but I just think the second-year players look better. Guys like Murphy, Alvarado, Najee Marshall, only 5K, right? Those guys all feel too cheap, so definitely look into those guys. Again, Murphy, Alvarado, and Marshall. And finally, we got Portland. We already saw them play yesterday, so we have a good idea what the rotation is going to be. Shaedon Sharpe did not return to that shoulder injury. We'll keep an eye on that. If he misses, probably get more usage for the likes of Keon Johnson, who played over 30 minutes last game. Brandon Williams is solid in, close to 30 minutes. Just a guy that, do the ball handling, can contribute in a lot of different ways. Don't really know if I'm looking to pay up for Watford. Greg Brown's fine, but only played 20 minutes last game. I'll mention Garza. He played the backup 5. I thought he would start. But still, had a good game in like 16 minutes off the bench. Another really, really good point per minute guy. So, yeah, I'm fine if you still want to play Garza, even if he comes to the bench, just because, like I said, he'll be productive when he's on the court. But, yeah, so that'll wrap it up for the video. Again, if you are looking for more in-depth content for all these updates, starting lineups, basically any single piece of news that I find, that's over on Patreon. I also have a breakdown for the early slate as well up there. So, thanks again, guys. Appreciate all your support as always, and I will see everyone in the next video.